Howdy everybody, I pray this video finds you blessed. So this week I am turning an espresso tamper. These help you to press down the espresso in your espresso coffee holder. So if you know anyone who has a home espresso machine, find out what brand it is and what kind, and you can always turn this for them as a gift. Or you can look online. They do have all the measurements for the different machines. I found that there's like 3 standard sizes for stampers, and I think they range from like 51 millimeters to like 65. And the bigger ones are more the professional ones you'd find in like Starbucks and stuff like that, because they're making a more amount of espresso at a time. So I made 2 of these. One of them is just shy of 50 millimeters, so it's like 49, and the other one is like 48. I figured making them a little smaller would be better than making them too big, so you could, and I test fitted both of them, and they fit down in there just fine without the coffee, spewing out the sides or anything. It's just designed to give a good tamp to the coffee, so you're not using it to like crazy press in there or anything. So the smaller, a little bit smaller, is sufficient. I turned these a few weeks ago, well, actually a few months ago, when I first started getting back into turning, so please excuse the very rough tooling. This is, I guess, not necessarily a how-to as far as tooling goes, but maybe ideas for gifts, especially the holidays coming up. I have noticed when sanding Cocobolo, you must sand with the grain in between sanding, otherwise you will see those lines in the end. The first one I made, I had sanding lines in it, and I was like, what the heck? I sanded this really good, and it doesn't matter. You need to sand with the grain on this. I mean, maybe it's just me and my impatient sanding, I don't know. but it's better to, you know, just sand with the grain as you go versus finding at the end of the project that you still have all these lines and you have to start over again. So just a heads up. I figured from the beginning that I'd be able to turn this around and just stick it into the chuck because of the size of the stamper end. It would be just fine. But what I did not anticipate was the marks that the chuck jaws would leave. So I have two stampers that I made. One has more aggressive marks in it and the other one has very faint marks. The second time I turned it, I used a very spongy, it's like a yoga mat material. I just cut real thin pieces and stuck it in there, and that seemed to help, but I still ended up somehow getting really barely noticeable marks in one of my stampers. So I was so frustrated. I was like, why didn't I think about that? Why didn't I think? And, well, you know, get back into turning again. Maybe that'll just be my excuse. Please ignore my messy sewing room. I just got done making a bunch of projects last night and I didn't finish till late and I didn't clean up. So that is that. So I just have some material here and this has no water in it. Let me get water in it. While my iron is warming up, get some water in it and I guess just wrap this, the indents on that one. They're not as bad as the indents on this one. This one only got like, I guess 3 out of the 4 chuck indents. It's very frustrating when you do that. Anyhow, I'm going to start with the worst one. Because if it can't get the worst one out, I don't know, maybe it'll get the other one out. Let's see. Cut. This is just like pants, dress pants material. I recycle stuff around here, so. All right, let me see. I got one right about there. I'm trying to do this to where I don't burn my fingers. All right, so I wet the material and the marks are right there. I'm just gonna roll it on the iron. Let's see. A little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It did take the shine off of it. Maybe it needs to be on there longer. Now, Cocobolo is a hardwood, so I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a little bit more. Let's try that one. Maybe I'm being too impatient. I burnt myself last night, so I'm like, I don't want to burn myself again. I don't know. I don't feel like it took it out a ton. Made the finish more come off. Now this material is still very wet. Still enough moisture in there. All right, I'm going to hold it on. I don't feel like it did. I don't feel like it did anything. Maybe a little bit, but maybe it's just not as noticeable because the finish has been compromised. So the iron trick didn't work very well for this one that has a little more creases. This one, the creases are minimal. I feel like more minimal than this one here. And maybe they're less noticeable because the shine has been taking off of it. And this one still has the shine from ironing. Maybe Cocobolo is not the kind of wood that you can do that with. I don't know. Someone in the comments had said if you ever get any creases or dents or things like that, try putting a cloth with water and ironing it and getting those to come out. And it's worth a try, you know, on all woods. I mean, you never know until you try, right? So didn't work the greatest on Cocobolo, and it's a really hard wood too, and you know, cranking the chuck down on that puts quite a bit of pressure. So yeah, so I'm imagining that's the reason why that is that. That one I'm going to keep for myself. This one I'm going to put on the Etsy shop. I would rather sell it instead of getting thrown in a box and never used. I'm going to start just selling my scratch and dents and posting my scratch and dents, and you'll know that, hey, there's some imperfections in it, but it's still useful. This one, which is 48 millimeters, 48, 47, it's, you know, a little shy of that, fits just fine in my espresso cup. And most home espresso machines are that. So let's see, this is 55, the opening from here to here. The bottom is about 48 millimeters, and that is measuring from the outside to the outside, so obviously the inside measurement be a little different. So my 48 millimeter will go all the way down, and it's all the way down, and you can feel that it stops just shy of the bottom, which is fine because you're going to be putting coffee in there anyway, so it's not going to need to go all the way down to the bottom. But that's just so you know, things to look out for whenever you're making them. I would rather, like I said, make it a little bit too small than too big so it doesn't get stuck. This one is 50 millimeter, and it stops about right there. And if you tamp too hard, then it possibly can get stuck and you're having to do that, and then coffee flies everywhere. So this one I'm keeping for myself anyway, and I know that I'm going to be putting coffee in there. Knowing that it's a little bigger, I will keep that in mind when using it. This one I'll put in the Etsy shop under scratch and dent, and it will fit down there just fine. Yeah, so that's that. So make sure you measure your cups, or look online if you're not sure. So you know someone has an espresso machine, and you know, you can find out what espresso machine they have and get the measurements offline as far as their size goes. But yeah, great gift idea for Christmas coming up for people who like espresso. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I pray you guys have a wonderful week. Take care and God bless.